The unthinkable has happened, you guys. We are officially older than dirt. Well, dirt that's over the age of 21, because Nintendo 64 turned 20 years old. I know. Recently, the Nerdist team shared their favorite N64 memories, which in turn sparked a heated debate in the office about what the most underappreciated N64 games of all time were. Now, everyone knows games like Super Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time, but what about those hidden gems? Well, today on the Dan Cave, we're gonna settle that debate once and for all with some of the most underrated N64 games ever made. Force Gemini. When it comes to third-person action-adventure, Rare could do no wrong during the N64 era. Force Gemini was a perfect example of this. The game was a third-person shooter that saw you exploring the galaxy and fighting the armies of the evil insect overlord Mizar, or Mizar. I don't know how it's pronounced, I was a kid. Now, what this game and many other Rare games did so well was exploration, meaning there's a genuine sense of discovery, and there was so much to uncover here, with secret areas and collectibles galore. It all made it feel like a hell of a lot of fun to play over and over again. I'm talking replay value, baby. But most importantly, Force Gemini gave you a jetpack. That's the jet. It's the jetpack. In any game that gives you a jetpack is like biting into a sweet, juicy mango. Which is to say, pretty great. Harvest Moon 64. What if I told you that farming was lit as Well, a generation of gamers learned that truism with Natsume's blissfully bucolic RPG Harvest Moon 64. The game saw you inheriting your grandfather's farm and trying to restore it to greatness. Make my farm great again. But what made this game a genuine triumph was how it integrated clever RPG-style mechanics and side quests with a slice-of-life mundanity to make a calming but incredibly addictive experience. Oh, and you could also woo mad babes in the local town, so I mean, hey, you could really sow your wild oats. I'm sorry. Conkers Bad Fur Day. To paraphrase the greatest rapper alive, MF Bumps, you're gonna have a bad fur day. Honestly, it's almost a miracle that Conkers Bad Fur Day was released at all. This game is dark as hell, and more foul-mouthed than anything else in Nintendo's squeaky clean catalog. I mean, sure, it was a solid 3D platformer from Rare, but it was a solid 3D platformer from Rare that saw you as a squirrel who got lost in a land full of Nazi teddy bears and a weasel mafia after a night of binge drinking, then you just had to try and find your way back to your girlfriend. Except when you reunite with her, she's gunned down, so you have to break the fourth wall and decapitate the evil Panther King that had her killed to exact your revenge. You know, that old chestnut. That old hungover, panther-slaying chestnut. I mean, basically, this game is Deadpool with an alcoholic squirrel. And you know what? I'm okay with that. Mystical Ninja starring Goemon. While the PlayStation had Brave Fencer Musashi, Nintendo's feudal Japanese blue-haired badass was a ninja named Goemon, who wields a kiseru, which is basically a weaponized medieval Japanese vape. Sure, the localization was hot garbage, but the story of you trying to stop the Peach Mountain shoguns from using lasers to turn Japan into a giant theater and its citizens into enslaved dancers was delightfully weird and incredibly surreal. Most of all, though, it was a supremely enjoyable 3D platformer, a genre that N64 did like no other. And I mean, honestly, a game full of weird puns and Japanese deep cuts? What am I supposed to do, just not play it? Have you watched this show at all? I mean, come on! Mischief Makers. Sometimes Japan out-Japans itself in new and exciting ways, and one of those ways was a little game called Mischief Makers, in which you play as a robotic maid named Ultra Intergalactic Cybot G Marina Lightyears. Rolls off the tongue. Anyways, you can probably guess, Marina has to rescue her creator from a planet on the verge of a violent civil war. Oh, and did I mention that the only way to defeat your enemies is by violently shaking them? You know, the archenemy of soda cans and newborns? Anyway, this game was incredibly fun, challenging boss fights, and hey, you're a robotic maid. Isn't that what you always dreamed you would be someday? I know I did. Snowboard Kids. What is the greatest snowboarding game on the N64? Now, if you said 1080 snowboarding or Twisted Edge, stand up and take a goddamn seat because you're wrong. It's Snowboard Kids. It's a weird but incredibly fun game that played like the snowboarding equivalent of Mario Kart. I mean, sure, all your characters had these weird bulbous turnip noses, but I'm not sure that our character designs would have been much better. The best part, though, was the fact that it was lap-based, which meant that at the end of each run, you had to get on a lift and ride it back up to the top. But that also meant you could slam into your opponents, knocking them out of line. So watch your backslash, because your ass is ice, and I'm a Zamboni. Pokemon Snap. The very fact that this is a Pokemon title might disqualify it from being underrated, but it bears mentioning nonetheless. Pokemon Snap is an on-rails first-person shooter, except you don't fire bullets, you shoot pictures. As Todd Snap, I can't believe that's his name, a Pokemon photographer summoned by Professor Oak to document the wildlife on the inventively named Pokemon Island. With Easter eggs galore and simple yet addictive gameplay, this is one of the greatest pleasures of the N64 era. And the fact that they never made a sequel using the Wii U controller as a camera is a goddamn travesty. Clay Fighter 63 1/3. Look, we get it. Smash Brothers is great. Killer Instinct Gold is like Street Fighter for furries. But Clay Fighter 63 1/3 combined the animated awesomeness of claymation with the brutality of Mortal Kombat to delightful effect. And you could fight as an evil snowman, a blob of goo, a cyborg rabbit, and so many more insane characters to list. That's Brisk, baby! Oh, wait, sorry. Wrong snowman, that's Clay, baby! Nobody says that. Space Station Silicon Valley. A game as bonkers as its title, Space Station Silicon Valley took place in the year 3000 on a space station that also happened to be an interstellar amusement park. In the game, you play as Danger Dan and a tiny robot named Evo, who are tasked with finding the station's missing designer, Professor Cheese. Upon your arrival, though, you discover the animals on board have merged with the technology, and the station is on a collision course with the Earth. So basically, it's Armageddon meets the Borg meets the island of Dr. Moreau. What's not to love? Oh, and how's this for no Henry twist? The game was developed by DMA Design, which eventually became Rockstar North, aka the madmen behind Grand Theft Auto. Suddenly everything makes sense. Now obviously this is just a small slice of N64's catalog, so tell me, what N64 games do you think are wildly underrated? Let me know in the comments below, and while you're there, give me an underrated a thumbs up. That's all for today's show. Join me next time when I talk about the story of a hard-boiled detective who tries to track down a serial killer only to inadvertently get adopted by John Lithgow and his family in Dirty Harry and the Hendersons. Until next time, keep on digging. Let's open up the old mailbag, shall we? At Boss Orlana asks, what's your most anticipated game coming out in the near future? That's a great question. I saw so many awesome ones at E3. I have to say probably Telltale's Batman, because I love the idea that what you do as Bruce Wayne will affect what you do as Batman, and vice versa. It's something unique that we haven't really seen before in a Batman game, and plus, I cannot wait to hear Travis Willingham and Laura Bailey's dulcet tones all up in my ear holes. At Cam Hollage asks, who is your top choice starter Pokemon of any generation? P.S. We all know there's a right answer. Now, you might be expecting me to say Charmander, and the little dude is great. But my answer is Squirtle, because he's a chill-ass turtle who rolls with a squad of ice-cold motherfuckers. Squirtle Squad, baby! Get into it. At Panzer Fred asks, what anime verse would you like to be in? Attack on Titan or Cabaneri of the Iron Fortress? Ooh, great question. I mean, probably Attack on Titan, because A, I'd love to get my hands on some 3D maneuver gear, and B, it seems a little bit more enticing than Cabaneri. Let's face it, I'm gonna die either way. So I'd rather not be trapped on a train when and if I do go. I'd rather be soaring through the air than snatched like a fruit fly from the jaws of victory. But tell me, what anime verse would you most like to be in? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time.